2004 Chevy Impala with a very low amount of miles. I can't remember. I think it's like either 80,000 or I bought it for a $675 bid. With Copart fees, delivery, and everything like that, it turned out to be approximately $1,100. It was listed as a rear end damage car, and frankly the said rear end damages are not too noticeable, which is a good news. Potentially this car is going to be ready for sale as is. And I did double check that this was being sold by an insurance, which is good news. It's not like one of those cars where there's hidden mechanical damage that Copart does not disclose or doesn't find because they don't really try hard enough. Granted, we do have this. It actually, if you look really closely and like kind of from different angles, you would notice that the entire rear end over here, like this whole bumper area, seems to be pushed over towards the driver's side. The bumper sticks out a little further over here past the taillight, while here the bumper is basically ends before the taillight. Long story short, it's a pretty minor damage on a car like this, and hopefully maybe we'll make it a little better, but we don't have to try too hard to make it perfect. Now let's get out of this incredible cold. I think it's like 8 degrees outside. And what's even better, this thing is a run and drive with a check engine light and a brake light on. It is really weird to me that this is a regular passenger car, not a truck, that has a steering column shifter. I see absolutely nothing. We're just gonna hope for the best here and assume that I'm not gonna run over important things. Okay, so yes, here she is. Looks like we got 2 working headlights, 2 working turn signals. I think that's great news already. Oh, I'm so cold. I think first things first, we're gonna check what the check engine light is and go from there. We have a very low risk purchase here where, you know, I spent $1,000 pretty much. I will be the first to admit that she's not the prettiest. Looks like we have some Bondo repairs here that were painted black for whatever reason. Looks like there's some denting here. You know, she's not a looker, but she's a driver, supposedly. We have good tires, which is great for this time of year. We have 4 matching tires. They're all Continental, all seasons, with, I would estimate, at least like 7 or 8 30 seconds of tread. Now, those who have been following this channel for quite a while, or, you know, paid any attention to what's around me while making this video, you would notice that I mostly do German cars, primarily Audis and Volkswagens. Those are my main specialty, I would say. And if you've been following my channel, you might notice that I've been experimenting a lot with different makes and models. Now that I have my dealer's license, you know, I realized that I don't want to be stuck doing the same thing over and over. I would like to take advantage of my dealer's license to the max and use it to experiment with different vehicles. Now, I can't say I really care about the driving characteristics of this car, but you know, it's just me gaining experience in different things. And honestly, if I find something cheap enough, I'll buy it no matter what it is. Now, first things first, this engine bay is stupid clean. Very, very, very clean. Looks like this is a V6, and that's about all I know about it. And the fact that it's clean. It's not the best looking motor. I'm kind of used to Audi motors looking a little nicer, wires being tucked away, but I'm not gonna complain about it. Everything seems to work. We do have a check engine light that we're going to find out now. I just wanted to take a look at this and see what we're dealing with. But everything looks very dry, everything looks very clean, and I'm very happy to see that. Similar to the Silverado I did in one of my recent videos, this car does have these stupid battery side posts. I don't understand why this is a necessity, but it exists, and they do that. The interior in this thing is surprisingly clean. I mean, it genuinely looks like somebody cared for this car quite a bit, and that's great. Obviously, it's no German leather seats, but is this a oh wow, this is a 3-seater. Back seat looks good too. We do have a penny. We have power windows, power locks, power mirrors. The seats, however, are semi-manual. Let's see if we have anything in our trunk. We get all-weather mats. Honestly, a very, very clean truck. This almost looks like it was just purchased by somebody and was previously cleaned up by a dealership. I very rarely see cars this clean on Copart. Have no idea what this has to do with, but I'm not complaining. I do want to find out the paint code, which I believe is going to be on here. The reason why I want to know the paint code is because I think I'm just going to buy a can of spray paint that's more or less matched to this color and go over this whatever this is. Obviously it's not going to be perfect when I just throw some paint on it, but it's going to look better than this black matte. Very questionable choice. Evap, very expected evap. Long shift. This one I really don't like. This sounds like a transmission issue. We're gonna do some quick research on these three codes and see if this is something that's easily fixed, and make some decisions. So funny enough, the evap code that we're seeing is the exact same that I read on the Silverado. Chances are that it's our canister solenoid or the Purge solenoid for the evap system that are throwing that. Very common issue on almost every make and model that's relatively old, and I'm not surprised to see that code at all. But what really does worry me is the transmission code. From the quick search I did on Google, looks like that code is accompanied by some pretty jerky and hard shifts. And some people managed to fix that by doing like a tranny flush, even with like running seafoam through the transmission, which is a little scary to me, but maybe if I see enough evidence that it works on these cars, maybe I'll do it. But first I think I'm gonna have to see what it drives like and find out if we actually have a shifting issue. If it drives well enough for like a $2,000 car, I think I would be okay with just selling it the way it is, with the check engine light, with the transmission code, selling it for cheap enough. You know, $2,000 cars have very low expectations. I will make some profit and have this car out of my way, and I don't have to do much work to it. All right, so driving the 2004 Chevy Impala, and it's doing quite well. There's zero issues with the shifting that I've noticed. Potentially that code is superficial, or I don't know. We'll let the transmission warm up a little better and know for sure whether or not there's more issues. We do have that evap code that I may or may not fix. Let's see if we can take it up to 70 real quick. It's doing really well. It's actually a lot more smooth than you would expect it to be. Or I would expect it to be, considering that this is a domestic. Pedal to the floor. Okay. Excellent. Hard brake. Also good. Perfect. Is it possible that there's an underlying issue? Probably. Maybe the transmission isn't as healthy as it was back when this thing came off our factory floor, but I also am nervous to change the fluid. There's a possibility that with changed fluid, transmission is going to have even more issues when all the sludge built up in the transmission makes its way to places it shouldn't. So in my experience, especially on older cars like this, it's best to just leave the transmission fluid as is and hope for the best. I think that even with that code, this thing is going to have quite a bit of a transmission life left. Probably best to leave it the way it is. But I am going to try and address our check engine light by replacing both our evap canister as well as the purge valve solenoid. And I think we should just do that now. I won't lie, I did absolutely zero diagnosing besides reading the codes. It could either be the purge canister, what's it called? Purge valve solenoid, which is this guy, or it's the evap canister, which is located somewhere around here behind these panels. There's probably ways to check these, but honestly, these parts are so cheap that it doesn't even make sense to do it. Might as well change both parts and be most likely successful at erasing these codes. For the evap canister, we just go down here and look for this guy. Simple enough. Looks like there's just some sort of a plastic clip holding it on, as well as an electrical connection and a hose going to it. And those clamps can sometimes be troublesome, especially the really large ones. So as a Christmas present for myself, I bought myself one of these plier tools for those clamps specifically. And what's really cool about these is that they kind of lock in place. After you lock in the clamp, it doesn't let it to unspring under that tension. So, and the little tips on here allow it to actually like sit in here nice and tight, better than regular pliers. If you want one of these sets, you can find it in the description. There we go, slide it back. There we go, slides right out. Can remove our hose. Easy enough. And slide it right back where it came from. All right, where can we find this guy? So this kind of looks like what we're looking for, but as you can see on the new part, we have an in and out on opposite sides, but right here, I'm pretty sure this is what we're looking for. We have the in and out on the same side. So I've removed the Purge solenoid from the car just to test it, since we don't have the exactly correct one. I want to make sure that this thing is actually bad before I replace it. Here's how you do that. Obviously removing it was very simple, just one electrical connection and then two little hoses we have to pop off. I connected two probe wires to the connector, and I'm going to be using a little 12-volt battery from my drill. First, we're going to make sure that this thing is not stuck open, and to do that we just have to blow into it. Hopefully you guys can hear that through the microphone. Well, technically there's nothing to hear because it's not letting air through. I'm blowing into it, nothing comes out of the other end, which means that this thing is closed as it should be in a disconnected condition. But now when we give it 12 volts, first of all, we should hear a bit of a click. Make this more audible. You guys should hear that. This thing is right next to the microphone. So now, when it's activated, I'm gonna keep blowing into it. The clicking that we hear is this thing opening and letting air through. And as you heard, you can actually hear the air hissing out of the other end once this thing is activated. So that means that our Purge solenoid or valve, Purge valve, is in good condition and works properly as it should. So we can just reinstall it and not worry about this being the issue. I'm gonna erase the codes, pop this guy back in, and hopefully the code doesn't come back. I'm definitely not going to pretend like this is a high quality repair. We're just gonna try and make this look a little better, because obviously black spray paint on a, what is this, gold bronze colored car doesn't look very well. And we're not gonna make it look great, but we're gonna make it look better. Not even gonna bother masking anything, because it really doesn't matter. This thing is not going to a beauty pageant. Is that the word? It's a weird word. Let's say a beauty competition. I don't even know how well this paint matches, but it says it's for GM colors, so that should be sufficient. And I want to make something clear. A lot of people are going to look at this and say that I'm just trying to hide issues from the potential buyer, but I wouldn't say this is hiding issues. This is making the car look better for the buyer. I'm going to let them know that it has a decent amount of rust that was just spray painted over. I think that is gonna be obvious to anybody who looks at this car regardless. This is for whoever does end up buying it and just wants it to look a little better and not feel like they're driving an absolute piece of crap. Hopefully that makes sense to most of you, but I'm sure there's gonna be people out there who think that this is just a very low quality repair, but this is not intended to be a repair. This is just, like I said, making things better than they are for the sake of making somebody feel better about what they drive. Shout out to Duplicolor for making the exactly correct paint for commonly used GM colors. Looks like this old girl can do highway pretty good. We're doing a little over 70 and no hands on the steering wheel. She's going straight. The wheel alignment is a little off. On a car like this, I feel like that's to be expected. As long as it drives straight, I feel like most potential buyers for a car like this are not gonna mind it. Very smooth, no shakes, no vibrations, no weird sounds. It's actually surprisingly well driving. We're gonna list her up for sale. I'm ready to let it go. End of month is coming up. We need money for shop rents. So here are the pictures of what the car looked like when I listed it for sale after all the paint work that we've done. Listed it for sale, and 2 days later, as in today, the car sold. And it sold really, really quickly. The people showed up, and within 20 minutes we were signing the paperwork and they were on their way. That is very quick. Love it. The interesting part is that this car was sold to a lady who is a mail carrier. So when we went for a test drive, she had her husband sit in the driver's seat, but she herself sat in the passenger seat and drove from the passenger seat with her left foot and left hand. This was the weirdest thing I have ever seen, and I didn't record it. I wish I had, but this was wild. So she's a mail carrier somewhere in the country, somewhere in a very unpopulated area, so she gets to use a car like this for delivering mail. And the fact that it has a bench seat in the front allows her to do that in this specific car. So they have multiple of these, and I guess one of them is a parts car, so they're prepared to buy this car. Sold it for $2,500, which is pretty much what I was asking. I was asking 28. I was able to negotiate down a little bit. 25 is very fair for the kind of car that it is. And I mean, with how easily this thing sold, I could not be happier. Just fingers crossed nothing happens with the car. Because when I had a sale that was as easy as this one, it was the Nissan Murano, and that same night that the people bought it, they got back to me and said the transmission blew. And I had to refund them pretty much any profit I made on the car. If you're interested in seeing that, check out my other videos. That was not fun, but hopefully nothing like that happens with this car, and it's gonna serve them for a long time. And here's what the financials of this car look like. I bought it for a $675 bid. We spent $368 on fees and delivery, and total vehicle cost was $1,100. Parts, basically none were used. We only spent $90 in parts, and altogether we spent $1,200. Sold for $25. So that's a $1,300 profit, more than double of what we put in. So excellent profit margin. But seriously, the whole thing with driving from the passenger seat, that never even occurred to me. Like, I never thought about it. It's one of those things that you don't really think about. There was one like slightly awkward moment when I didn't catch at the beginning when she said she's a mail carrier. I didn't catch what she said, and I assumed that she has some sort of disability which keeps her from being able to drive from the driver's seat. So there was definitely a bit of a gap in the conversation where it took me a little while to figure out what she's talking about, because we've been doing this test drive. She's sitting in the passenger seat, and I'm like, okay, like cool. So what do you do for work? And she's like, looks at me like, were we not just talking about this the whole time? I'm a mail carrier. And I'm like, oh. No big deal. I should have explained that whole situation to her, but it's fine. I just figured she disregarded it, and she'll just keep thinking about that forever.